Hi, it's time for good energy, and I'm Dr. Julie, and welcome to Bodyful Day 278. We are talking about shoulder pain and the senses. Today we're talking about the sense of hearing, and as I was starting this video, my brain went to, I should have entitled this, Do You Hear What I Hear? All right, today we're going to talk about how the sense of hearing can guide us into healing our shoulder pain. Let's start with the basics. Take a deep breath in and release. Next deep breath in, you're going to breathe in, expand in the belly, expand in the chest, expand in the sinuses, and slightly tuck your tail, and then release. So go ahead and take that deep breath in. And release. And now, because we're talking about the sense of hearing and shoulder pain, I want you to think about the last time you heard your shoulder go pop, pop, pop. Go ahead and keep that in your mind, and you're going to breathe into that. Take a deep breath in and release. Now, this is day 6 of shoulder pain and the senses, and we are talking about the sense of hearing. How does hearing provide a stressor, provide good energy in, help us so that we have energy to heal our shoulder? And we can talk about the stressors. The stressors are, again, that sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight. Anything that stresses you, fingers on a chalkboard, children screaming, cars racing past, the sounds of sirens, that activate your fight or flight system, are going to make anything painful more painful. It is the opposite of the sense of smell. When I talked about in this episode on the sense of smell, I talked about the importance of gating theory and how we can use smell to distract us. Hearing is one of those sensory systems that we could use to distract us, but a lot of time hearing can aggravate the central nervous system and make things worse. So we know that's there, but how can hearing actually provide us good energy? And we're going to use it more like, from a scientific perspective, we're going to use it more like a dependent variable. So there are a number of things that shoulders can do. So mine will pop. There we go. Actually, mine just did. But it is like any other joint in your body. You can pop your shoulders as well. You can pop and release the gas out of that shoulder joint. So popping the shoulder, especially if we talk about releasing the gas in the shoulder joint, really isn't usually linked with shoulder pain. And for those of us who do crack our joints frequently, it's actually associated with a sense of relief, because it can actually have a little bit more mobility when that pop happens. That said, there are other types of pops and cracks. And so when you are moving your shoulder around, and you're like clunk, 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 like right there. So I can move my shoulder and there's a crunch right there. If I move my shoulder here, there's also a crunch. Now, what does that crunch tell us? That crunch tells us that somewhere in the range of motion of our shoulder, there is a tendon that is catching and flicking like a rubber band over something. It is not entirely a big deal. We don't really need to get all the thunks and clunks out of our joints, but just like a rubber band getting caught on something every time you work, every time it glides past it, you are taking a little bit of that rubber band off, and you're making that structural integrity just a little bit less each time it rubs past. So every time you do have a clunk or thunk, it isn't necessarily bad, because it is just those tendons rubbing across something that they're stuck on. But you don't want that happening long term. So what you can do is you can use your sense of sound as a guide to how to make that thunk go away. Now, the interesting thing is making that thunk go away actually makes your range of motion better, and it improves your shoulder pain. So one of the things you can do is you can locate your thunk. Oh, now it's decided to not exist. Where is my shoulder thunk? There it is, right there. There's my thunk. All right. what you can do is you can find your thunk, your hitch, and you can say, okay, is there anywhere on my body that I can push that will help? Well, we've talked a lot about referral from front ribs before. So you could go in and find a sore front rib. I've got one right here. Let's see what happens to my thunk. No, doesn't change my thunk. Can work my way down. Oh, got another one kind of right here. What if I push on that? What happens to my thunk? No, doesn't change my thunk. And I can work my way around. I can also work into the side ribs, so I can say, okay, well, if I push here, does that change my thunk? A little bit. My thunk gets a little bit less crunchy, but there's still not, it's still pretty there. So, you know, if it's not in the ribs, let's see if there's something along the neck that can do it. And then you just kind of work, starting, I wore the scarf and I shouldn't have. I knew it when I put it on. You can start up in your traps and you can say, okay, can I hold on to a spot in my shoulder muscles and see if that makes a difference? Nope, there's still a thunk right there. If I go up into my neck, if I push into like my ribs in my neck, or if I push into my vertebrae in my neck, nah. Oh, a little bit less. Let's see if I push it backwards. What does it do? A little bit less too, still not gone. What if I push that vertebra, pull that vertebra forward? No. So something about the vertebra right here, or the muscle right here, that seems to be linked to my shoulder popping. So I could go in and I could massage that and see it's a little tender. If I massage that, oh, hey, something unwound. Let's see what happens. Nope, it's still there. But I know it's there. I know it's not here. I know it's here. So I can work on touching and holding. And you can also, we've talked about the fact that cranials move. So there's an interesting correlation between the muscle that moves your jaw, which is the temporalis that goes all the way up here above your ear, and shoulder pain. So there's something called temporal tendonitis, which are, we've talked about this, little spots in your cranials that, or cranial muscles that can, ooh, hey, really? Wow, that's gone. Let's keep my head forward and see what happens. Nope, still gone. So there is a muscle here, that a tight muscle, that is actually causing my head to be held strangely, which is causing me to use my shoulder muscles differently, which is causing a tendon to pop in my shoulder. Everything's connected. So I'm going to work on this. This is a little tender bit, and I'm going to see, well, what happens? A little bit less. Yep, definitely cut it down. So you can use your hearing as a guide to how can I get good energy in. Shoulders clunk and thunk and move. Heads sound like they've got sand in them. You are not unable to fix that. You don't have to say, well, I've got sand in my head and it's gonna be that way. You're not helpless. You have muscles and places that you can hold and push all over those joints that will help release the tension going into those places. And you will relieve the crunching, the thunking, and the sand just by holding them. So consider the fact that you have a little bit more power over what sounds you hear in your body and start playing with it, seeing what you can come up with. All right, let's finish this off. Take a deep breath in and release. Have a great day. Meet me back here tomorrow when we talk about shoulder pain and the sense of touch.